There's not a lot of options for them to go with. The angle finally comes out. Gustav finds it. There you go. Now we're starting to see everything move towards detonation. White's reposition from earlier. We still have Furia holding down the offensive area. Zenith's position where they rolled through the hillside a second ago, also favorable. A lot of teams now going to have to make a push into what is a very deadly positioning. Where Detonation White is at the center of the circle, they have a compound to play from. It's fairly flat around them as well, but then it moves into a touch of a hillside where you can see a couple of these teams already starting to hold down positioning. That means as you roll through this, there's going to be a couple of different territory points that you want to keep an eye on. The hillside can potentially support a couple of more teams, but not the amount that we have hanging out on the outside skirts of this. Specifically, also, TSM and K7 are still next to each other in Picado, and Picado is no longer inside the safe zone.
Yeah, that fight's going to have to happen sooner rather than later. SDK is going to load up and think about making a move themselves, probably trying to identify what their options are and what's going to be the best one to make here. So really curious to see what their ideas are going to be. Are they going to try to push Furia? Are they just going to try to set up on the edge somewhere? You can see there's not really much they can do unless they go right towards Furia from a different angle. That's a pretty flat, wide open space there. They rolled a Murata. Oh, the tire got popped, so that makes things even more difficult.
Yeah, this is a problem. Furia's got vision on that. FaZe is on a different angle. Shoot to Kill is battered and trying to weather this, but it is just knock upon knock that's coming over towards them. Luke is just trying to hide out behind these rocks. He's already been knocked as well. Only one member is still up, and Zenith also now getting rolled on by a K7. Roth gets hit by a car as he comes into this position. Zenith trying to figure out exactly where the approach comes from, and you can see grenades now starting to land right on top of him. Somehow Kickstart's managing to survive this, but it's not going to be enough. Finally, K7 managed to connect into with it, and only at the cost of one knock. They might even be able to get this res. They just have to keep an eye back over towards TSM's positioning.
All right, well, Ents and Kia now have to duel themselves. Indigo gets taken down by a great grenade from Diggory behind the hill, proning, waiting, seeing if he can maybe find some kind of space to get something done. Indigo had a grenade in his hand, so he's going to fall to that. Squeaky rolling over on the side here. Rustin coming in as well to try to set up this line of defense against the Korean squad. That's Sungjan going down as well. TSM maybe getting some shots in there, helping out a little bit, and it is going to be a knock onto Squeaky, but for Damwon Kia, it's not looking so good. They're already banged up. They've lost two. They've taken some damage. The blue is not too far behind, and a couple other teams in front of them. It's going to take some nifty maneuvering to make that work.
Divine in a little bit of trouble. You can see Molotov's grenades landing right next to them, coming out from Triumphant Song Gaming. Ents in a lot of trouble. Kia trying to get a little bit more of a play around them, but not much to be had. SDK still getting harassed, trying to find some way to approach the safe zone, but too many angles are coming for him. Under gets spotted out, and there we go. That's going to be all she wrote for Kia, as well as Divine almost instantaneously with this. Circles continuing to press back in the direction of Detonation White. Quick peek back over, and there you go. Sia finding out Furia. Going to go ahead and get some damage and a flush into this as well. And Shoot to Kill, I believe, out back over towards the west. This is just chaotic. Every team is just dropping off at almost the exact same time, Paper.
Yeah, it's a brutal circle like we've been talking about. Anything to the southwest of Picado is rough for the teams. There's just, again, not a whole lot to play with. Kind of have to make something out of nothing. And, you know, as great as that move from Zenith was earlier, the problem with taking a central dip early is that in bad circles, eventually another team is going to be forced into your position, and pushing dips has been made a little bit easier because of the vehicle change, with the ability to shoot out of vehicles being made easier. So dips aren't quite as safe as they used to be. So for K7, the hard work, you know, they get taken, or excuse me, for Zenith, they get taken down by K7. Now it's K7's turn to try to keep some teams at bay off of what is now turned to an edge. Dip location. Good knock from Diggory on to Vard. There's TSM. They have nothing but a little bit of a hillside and this truck to work with, but the tire's getting taken out. That thing's about to explode. Vard might just get taken down by the explosion. Indeed, now they have to follow the back end of this truck. Still in the circle, though, is TSM, so if they can somehow keep themselves safe, Matt, they're going to be okay.
It's all pressure on Ents. Two different teams in front of them, and they're trying to figure out how they want to approach this. Lock's Lock is down. TSM in a little bit of trouble on the other angle for it. Wookie Bookie gets the knock onto Squeaky, and now Ents' troubles get that much worse. We have TSG that's trying to capitalize off of this to the west from this position, hoping that Ints can be enough of a distraction to make this work. Diggory, the last one up, in a ton of trouble. Got the blue right back behind him, trying to see if maybe he can get some harassment back to TSM, but there's nowhere to go. Just going to go ahead and feed that one over to the blue zone, deny the point. TSG making the play back in this direction, now looking towards K7's positioning. Looks like they might opt into driving by, and Mexi's still alive, just kind of hiding out in this tiny dip, and they're team upon team that try to pass by him. Triumphant Song Gaming does get vision into K7's positioning, lines up, gets the knock, and a quick flush as well. So K7 has been able to hold this out for a while, taking over the Zenith dip that we saw just a second ago, but now there's starting to run into limited options as numbers are definitely favoring Triumphant Song Gaming, and now TSM wants to get involved as well. There's just too many people, too many teams, too many different angles. K7 got a little bit of smoke, but only one member up. Tries to make a little sneaky play, but Sia reads it, gets the shots onto him, and says that's not going to work.
Savior tries to get in the vehicle to get away, but TSG is just too fast. They're on the hunt. This is TSG in a nutshell. They are so good at navigating the sight lines of Miramar, and you can see here they've just been working along this hill line on the southern side of the circle for quite some time, just kind of sweeping through, clearing out team after team, and now they are looking towards TSM. They know that there's only 2 members up if they've been keeping track of their kill feed properly, and they know that if they can wipe these guys out, then maybe they could try to be they probably aren't going to win. Detonation Gaming White, the circle has favored their compound, so it's looking pretty good for them. But they can at least get a lot of points